I'm John Burkhart. I work in the business office for Medina City Schools, and I am going to chat with you a little bit about some of the summer projects we have coming up this summer. As far as the funding of those projects, we get a sales tax revenue that comes from the 0.5% sales tax in Medina County. What that amounts to is about $1.2 million that we spend on capital improvements across the district. And to make decisions on how those dollars are spent, we have a group of citizens, 3 citizens and 2 school board members that meet the first Thursday of every month. And what we do in those meetings is discuss the needs of the district as far as facility improvements. That group gets the list of what is wanted as far as facility improvements from our staff. We talk to our principals, and we talk to our custodians, our maintenance staff, our food service staff, transportation, all departments to see what they would like to see as far as improvements in our district. We also keep a very good record of our preventive maintenance, and that's how we make decisions on when it's time to replace a roof or when it's time to replace a boiler in a building and all those sorts of things. It's much like owning a home. If you have experience with owning an older home, there are times that you just have to spend money on a roof, or you have to spend money on a new hot water tank or what have you. And of course, those expenditures aren't always as fun as remodeling your kitchen. But as you know, if you don't fix your roof, lots of other problems can occur. So that's how we make our decisions. Traditionally, in the past several years, with the design of our buildings, we've tried to address security. That's been kind of our #1 focus. Schools weren't necessarily built back in the 50s and 60s and 70s to address intruders and people coming into your building that aren't necessarily welcome in your building. Many of the offices weren't built right in the front of the building because that wasn't the focus then. So we went through and did a lot of that kind of stuff the past several years and those were expensive projects because you're moving the physical office from maybe a couple hundred feet forward, and you're having to switch a classroom to an office, and a lot of that gets expensive in a hurry. So we've focused a lot on safety and security in that way, as well as the whole perimeter of the building, camera systems, other security measures that are in our buildings. That's been our focus. Now our focus is now more on what kind of improvements do we need to make to avoid further costs. So that involves roofing projects, window projects, things on the exterior of the building many times that are causing problems inside the building. So real quickly, I wanted to run through this summer's projects. As the teaching staff and students go home, our maintenance team stays. We work year-round. The summer is our perfect time to get work done like this. So basically, the day after the students are dismissed, we begin doing the work. We start, whether it's a roof project, we start tearing off the old roof. If it's a paving project, we start getting the areas prepped for paving. It's all that sort of stuff, and that goes on. We try to have all the work wrapped up very early in August, so there's plenty of time for staff and students to come back and everything's completed and nice and done. So I was going to run through some of the major projects. I wasn't going to go through in detail some of the smaller ones, but again, these are all funded with the $1.2 million in sales tax. And the first large project is a roofing project, and it's at Medina High School. And to give you a feel for the school, we're going to be doing this roof section that's right above the middle auditorium, which is the original section of the building. And it's right here, this large area right here, which is about 14,000 square feet. This is an area we did 2 years ago. As you can tell, it's kind of looks newer. That particular area is out of warranty, has roof leaks. It's a built-up roof system with insulation board and then metal decking. We're going to remove all of the insulation and roofing material to get down to the metal decking and address any of the metal decking that might be corroded, have holes in it, is weak, replace that, and then put an entire new roof system on top that will look much like that existing roof system. That particular project is budgeted at $444,870. I know that sounds like a lot of money, but when you're doing very extensive roof repair like that on a large commercial building, that's what we're estimating that to come in. So that's currently a bid, and we expect bids to be open on May 18th for that. The next large project I wanted to talk about is the tennis courts, and that's right across the street from the high school here. And what we're going to do there is address the bad courts that we have all down through here. These courts are all in fairly good condition and have been used extensively. These two courts are the worst, where we have standing water, very badly cracked asphalt surface. So we are basically gonna take the nets and posts out, mill this entire area down to the sub base, and then make any base repairs as far as the gravel that's underneath. We're going to put a drainage system right down the middle of the courts, right under the nets, so it doesn't interfere with the play. And then we're going to resurface that court. This is a project we've been working on for a couple years. It went out to bid last year, but the bids came in higher than we like to see them, so we rejected those bids. We're hopeful that with our paving program this year, that we'll see some better pricing, and it's estimated $149,500. In our high school, we have a performing arts center. That center has studio kind of lighting like you would see in any large auditorium. That lighting board that controls the house lights has gone bad, and it's one of those systems that's no longer manufactured. It was an original system when we built the Performing Arts Center. So we budgeted to replace that light board $31,993. Other large projects we have, Claggett Middle School, we have money set aside for, we're going to continue to replace the old drapes that are in the building in the classrooms with the window blinds, which helps with when we're using our LCD projectors to get the room a little darker, plus the window curtains are really outdated and in poor condition. We are going to go through all the bathrooms. Many of those bathrooms don't have stall doors, some do, some don't, so we're going to replace all the bathroom stalls with new non-corrosive heavy-duty commercial bathroom stalls. We're going to do that work in-house, so we're in the process of purchasing the supplies to do that project, and then our own maintenance crew will go through and remove the old ones and install the new ones. We've budgeted $17,500 for that. There is the original hot water tank system that's in there. We're literally storing hundreds of gallons of hot water with a reheat system and everything. It's really designed for back in the 50s when the building was built for everyone taking a shower after athletics and that sort of thing, which current day no one showers after our athletics or phys ed. They typically do that at home. So we need enough hot water for bathroom sinks and kitchen operations and those sort of things. So we're able to downsize the hot water system, and that also means downsize the amount of natural gas that we use to keep that water warm. So that's a project that will not only save us some money, but is also needed at this time. The cafeteria, we're going to do a remodeling there. And I was going to circle back to that because I have other screens I wanted to show you, like a couple projects at Claggett and then one at AI Root, because I have separate blueprints for those. Another program we have in the summer is we employ a crew of college students, and it's usually a crew around the size of 7 to 10 college students. And what we do is have them take care of things normally you might hire out to be done, like painting, mowing, weed eating, and all those sorts of projects. Oh, and putting down mulch before school starts, and just kind of keeping the weeds away from out of the flower beds and that. But what they do is, like last summer, we put a lot of focus on Garfield Elementary, and we went through and painted a lot of areas in there, painted exterior doors, painted hallways, painted ceilings, all sorts of things like that, fixed ceiling tile, just the general refresh of the school. So this summer, there'll be a focus on Claggett. We've been going through, even recently, with because some of our college students will start to come back real soon. But getting all those areas refreshed, clean, painted, new ceiling tile. Not that we don't clean our buildings. Every summer there's a deep clean done in each and every one of our schools. But this is more on the side of painting and touching up and putting in new ceiling tile and doing all those sorts of things. We also are going to replace the risers in the music program. Those are just the elevated risers because those are in poor condition, and that's $8,000. The Media Center, we're working with the building principal, and this is a separate project from our capital improvement funding, the 1.2 million sales tax. This is more building level funds he has, the principal. We are going to look at refreshing the Media Center, and that would involve floor treatment, wall treatment, some furniture. So we're still working on the budget there and trying to develop a program for the Media Center. Now jump into Memorial Stadium across the street, and I can show you on the screen here what we're doing. Our old stadium structure that's in there, if you've been there, it's this structure right here with the seating. It's a concrete building with aluminum seating. The concrete on top is cracked, needs completely scraped, sealed, and then recoated. So we're going to do that, and we estimate that to be around $35,000. And the reason we're doing that is because we're getting water in below, more in this section. So it's prevented us from really doing it much as far as storage in there. But more critically, this section, there's a workshop under there that we use to take care of our mowers and snow blowers and our small engine kind of stuff. So we try to do all that stuff in-house to save money, and that's an area we want to make sure we have to do work in. Over at AI Root, we are going to be taking a locker bay and converting it over into 2 classrooms. And that's the other part I have separate blueprints on that I wanted to kind of show you at the very end of this talk on the capital improvements list. Now I'm going to go to Garfield Elementary. We've been going through there and also doing the window blinds, the same system at Claggett. Putting window blinds in more classrooms there, $6,000 to do that project. There's linoleum flooring in the lower level that's in really poor condition, so we've got a proposal to redo that for $3,505. We have money allocated for window air conditioners to replace those, $2,000 as they go bad. And then in there, we're going to redesign, or refresh, I should say, the cafeteria serving line for the kids. Right now, it's a stainless steel kind of flat surface that the kids run their trays on, and then in front of that is the entrance to the serving area, which has some old equipment that isn't functioning anymore. We're going to replace that equipment, upgrade that serving line so it's more modern, and we've allocated $30,000 to do that project. At Fenn Elementary, we are going to be going into the kitchen and reworking the ceiling that's in really poor condition and installing a window in the kitchen area just because they don't have much in the form of ventilation. It's not an air-conditioned space, and it gets a little hot and stuffy in that area. So for $5,000, it'll be less than, I'm sure. We're going to install a window in there that they can open. Blake Elementary, one of our newer buildings, the exterior is a drive-it masonry kind of material. That material needs maintenance periodically, and we haven't really put any money into the exterior of that, so we budgeted $15,000 to address that. And both at Ralphie Wade and Northrop, both of those buildings have removable carpeted areas for the students to do reading and group things on the carpet. That carpet's worn out at this point, so we've allocated $13,500 to each building to replace that carpet. And the other project that we've done there is we're reworking the HVAC controls in the boiler and in the chiller primarily, and that's just a matter of us changing the controls in there because they're not working properly. And of course, the particular line that we're addressing is also not supported anymore. So we're investing, I believe it's around $5,000 at each building to address those controls. Over at Heritage Elementary, we've been working on replacing carpet little by little, so we're addressing the main office for $3,336. The gym doors in the building are corroded, and at this point we're going to replace those at $14,000. And we're also going to do some additional drainage around the rear by the gym area where we've got standing water that's getting close to the building. So we're going to install more drain tile, and we estimate that at $15,000. A big project is at our transportation facility. This is where we keep all our buses, and what we are going to do there is address our bus lot. I'm going to zoom in on that so I can show you what the actual issues are there. Well, I'm not going to worry about drawing. This is our transportation facility. It's on West Smith Road, so as you can see, we park all our school buses there. The area that you can see that's dark through here is where water basically is running when we get rain across the lot and across into this creek. And the lot is super flat, so there really is no way that it wasn't crowned, it wasn't built to have water not stay on it. This is just the lay of the land out there. So it's water we have to address, and we've actually, you can't see it in this picture, but right here we've installed a treated lumber walking bridge, so our bus drivers, especially in the winter, when there's standing water and it becomes a sheet of ice, they can get across there into their buses without having to walk across the sheets of ice. What we plan on doing is milling all of this out, installing a heavy-duty drain line down through here to tie the creek into the water. There's like a swale here that collects water. So all the water would then go underground and not be on top of the lot. And then we would resurface the lot, and then where buses are, we would put concrete. And the reason we want to do that is because right now the facility was designed for a Ryder truck facility. That was the previous owner. When we purchased the property, they used to store tractor trailers there, but only for a short time. We are now using the property differently because we park buses there consistently every day, 365 days a year. So the weight of the bus and the amount of pavement we have to work with is not getting along real well. So what's happening is those bus tires are kind of sinking into the asphalt, and we end up with a little pocket that the tire sits in. The problem is when we get rain and then it freezes, the buses can literally get froze to the ground, and we have to pull them out with a backhoe or pour salt around there and wait for it to melt. And in some cases, there's not a lot of time to do that. So we really need to address this lot. We're going to put concrete in those areas, so that condition will never occur again. So the way I'm looking at it is we're going to invest a significant amount of money there, but we're going to do it the right way so that we don't have to deal with this ever again. And that amount of money is $661,750, and we've been kind of carrying over funds to do that because we bid that project last year. Weren't really happy with the bid we got, so we rejected that bid and kind of saved that money from last year to bring into this year. The balance of the projects, we just put placeholders on various things like flooring needs, sidewalk repairs, classroom furniture, all things of that nature. So that pretty much is the total, the big projects we're going to do this summer. Joining me now is Tina Cassidy. She's in our curriculum department, and the reason she's involved in a facility talk like this is that we obviously have to work very closely with curriculum to make sure that the changes that are occurring with curriculum or with the growth of our student body or the changes in our staffing can get addressed on the facility side. So the one area that we've been working on for this coming summer is our middle school level. So Tina, can you just talk a little bit about what you're experiencing in the middle school level as far as our growth, our staffing needs, our space needs, that kind of thing?
Sure. So 2 years ago, our district gave sixth graders a period and a half in ELA, which is reading and writing, and math. And a period and a half is about 70 minutes. Right now, seventh graders and eighth graders get about 42 minutes in ELA and math. And what we found is that our test scores rose by 10% in both of those subjects, and we thought that was pretty significant. So this year we wanted to add seventh grade to that and give seventh graders more math time and more reading time. And in order to do that, we needed to lengthen the periods, so we needed to have needed to have more classrooms. Now, Claggett had more staff, and so that staff had rooms already. At Root, we were operating with less staff, so the Root class sizes were a little higher than Claggett's. Mm-hmm. So now what we're going to do is we're going to add 2 new positions to Root. That will even out the class sizes, and then both Root and Claggett will have a period and a half in ELA and math in 6th and 7th grade next year.
Very good. So I guess to show you, when I worked with curriculum on this, as you may recall, if you've been in our district for middle school level stuff at AI Root, we used to have modular classrooms there. We had 2 buildings that we leased. So every year we spent, I believe it was around $80,000 to lease those 2 buildings. So to bring those back to the district and then begin that whole process again it's very costly, because one, we would have to, have them delivered here, which is a pretty significant delivery charge because it's a wide load on a semi and all that. Secondly, we'd have to have them reset on foundations, have the electrical reestablished, and all those sort of things that all cost pretty significant amounts of money, all for a structure that we would potentially have removed again. So what we did is work with the architect that built the building to see if there's a way to capture any space inside the building to create more learning area, more classrooms. So what we did, what I wanted to show you was what we have in the middle school. What we have are instructional pods, and we have classrooms around the perimeter of each pod, and then in the middle is the locker bay, which is right here. And these are the lockers right here that are running out with the 2 bathrooms located here and here. This locker bay is what we are going to look at capturing inside the building, and there's 2 others besides this one for future need, if need be. But what we can do there is create 2 classrooms. And the way we're going to look at it is we're going to have a wall here. Sorry, having technical problems. We'll have a wall between the classrooms, and we also are going to price it with a partition wall, so the wall can be opened up, so this could be one large classroom. We're going to create, to get to these bathrooms, you used to be able to come right in from the locker bay area, but we're going to create these coves so that you can get right into the bathroom, and then 2 drinking fountains on each side. Now this is a really simple interior construction project. It's really steel studs, it's drywall, it's carpet, it's really basic. But what we found is we're going to salvage the lockers that are in that locker bay and try to use them across the district. And then we're going to take lockers and install them down through these wide hallway corridors that we have to equal out the same number of lockers that we're removing. So that's the project for there, and like Tina explained, it's a matter of finding space for 2 instructors and 2 full classrooms of students. So that's what that project is all about. And then the one project I wanted to finish with is kind of an exciting project, because I think the kids are going to love it, the staff are going to love it, our parents are going to love it when they come to PTO meetings or other building events, and that's over at our Claggett Middle School. And the cafeteria there is, of course, original, so you have small little tile, kind of square ceiling tile that are old and dated, and what we'd like to do is go in there and take the ceiling out and basically do some inexpensive but kind of creative stuff. We're going to build like a soffit system, so it'll drop down and give so the ceiling isn't one just flat surface. And then we can do some things with color, and it's all drop ceiling type material. So we're going to really dress up the ceiling, and then in these 2 areas here, We're considering putting some drop down honeycomb kind of effect with kind of the yellow paint on the outside to kind of make it all like look nice, fresh, and more modern. So that's the design of the ceiling. And then this is the area, again, this is an architectural type drawing, so this is where the kids enter the cafeteria. This is where the food is prepared and all that sort of stuff right through here. This is a serving line that currently exists right here. We're going to redesign that with some new food service equipment so that the kids can come, get their tray here, and then go through the serving line. So that's really the design of that. And that's kind of what that looks like with kids getting their tray, going down through the new serving line, and just making it look more like current day vintage, not old. So I think that's going to be a real positive project over there, as well as the refresh of the media center. So we're looking forward to a productive summer, and you know, my office is always open for questions, comments, concerns, as I think Tina is. So feel free to go to our website. We do use Twitter to post progress pictures as the projects go on. Not only this, but every project that we do across the district. So thank you for your time, and it's been a pleasure.
Thank you.